This happened about 3 years ago, but I'm finally ready to share the story. Buckle up, because this is a long one. What would you do if your stepmother destroyed the only thing you had left of your dead mother? This woman got revenge so brutal, so perfectly calculated, that it changed her entire family forever. I'm Emma. I'm 28 now, but I was 25 when this happened. My mom died when I was 16 after a long battle with cancer. Before she passed, she made me promise that when I got married someday, I would wear her wedding dress. This wasn't just any dress. It was a stunning vintage 1980s creation with intricate handmade lace and beadwork that my grandmother had crafted. Absolutely irreplaceable family heirloom. My dad, Mark, 52, remarried when I was 18 to Linda, 46. Linda made it clear from day one that she hated anything that reminded anyone that my dad had been married before. She constantly made comments about moving on and tried to get rid of all my mom's belongings. But I protected that dress with my life, kept it in professional preservation bags, and never told her exactly where it was stored. Fast forward to June 2021. I'm engaged to my wonderful fiancé Jake, 27M, and our wedding is planned for that Saturday, just 5 days away. I've spent months getting the dress professionally altered by a vintage specialist. Everything is perfect. Tuesday evening, I come home from work around 6 p.m. The garage door is open, which is weird because we always keep it closed. I hear Linda moving around and the garden hose running, so I walk over to see what's going on. What I saw will haunt me forever. Linda is washing her Honda Accord. Hood up, cleaning supplies everywhere. But the rag she's using to wipe down the engine? My mother's wedding dress. The vintage lace is black with motor oil. The delicate beadwork is torn and scattered across the garage floor. 9 years of careful preservation, destroyed. I'm standing there in complete shock. Finally managed to stammer, "Linda, what are you doing?" She looks up casually and says, "Oh, hi, Emma. Just cleaning my car. I needed some rags and found these old fabrics in the storage closet. They work great for getting grease off." Old fabrics. My mother's carefully preserved, clearly labeled wedding dress equals old fabric suitable for car engines. I tried to explain, voice shaking. "Linda, that's my mother's wedding dress. I'm supposed to wear it Saturday. It was preserved. It's irreplaceable. It's all I have left of her." Her response? She looks me dead in the eye, shrugs, and says, "Oops, didn't know it was important. Just saw some old white fabric. Besides, it's just a dress. You can buy a new one. Just a dress." The dress was completely ruined. Oil stains, torn lace, scattered beadwork. My connection to my mom, my promise to her, my childhood dream, all dismissed as replaceable with a shopping trip. That night, I cried harder than I had since Mom's funeral. But by morning, my grief had transformed into something cold and calculating. See, Linda had been planning her dream, vow renewal ceremony for months. She'd had a simple courthouse wedding with Dad, but wanted a big, elaborate do-over to show off to all her high school friends. The ceremony was scheduled for the following month. She'd been bragging about how it would be so much more elegant than my upcoming wedding. Linda had just handed me the perfect opportunity for revenge. Over the next few days, I systematically contacted every vendor for Linda's ceremony. The venue, called Pretending to be Linda, claiming family emergency, canceled the booking. Non-refundable deposit lost. The caterer, Linda, wanted to change the elegant dinner menu to a children's menu. Chicken nuggets, mac and cheese, juice boxes. Paid the difference up front, so they wouldn't question it. The florist, due to a death in the family, Linda wanted funeral arrangements instead of bridal bouquets. White lilies and chrysanthemums with "Our deepest condolences and in loving memory" banners. The cake. Changed the 3-tier elegant cake to a grocery store chic cake with "Sorry for your loss" in blue frosting. The photographer switched from wedding photographer to pet photographer for Linda's new animal-friendly themed ceremony. The guests created fake social media account and messaged everyone that the ceremony had been moved 3 hours earlier due to venue issues. Everything was in place. Time to watch the beautiful chaos unfold. Linda woke up that Saturday glowing with excitement. Spent hours on hair and makeup, put on her expensive dress. She was practically floating as they left for her perfect day. They arrived at the venue to find an empty, locked building. Linda's confused, then frantic. Calls the venue, gets told her event was canceled due to family emergency. While she's on the phone, the deliveries start arriving. First, florist van pulls up. Workers start unloading massive funeral arrangements. White lilies everywhere with "Our deepest condolences" banners. Linda watches in horror as funeral flowers are arranged around the locked venue. Tries explaining to workers it's supposed to be a wedding, not a funeral. They just shrug. They're delivering what was ordered. Next, grocery store employee wheels out the sorry for your loss sheet cake. Linda screms. Not a yelp. A full-throated scream of rage and disbelief. Some guests start arriving, the ones who didn't get my fake time change message. Instead of an elegant ceremony, they find Linda having a complete meltdown in a parking lot surrounded by funeral flowers and a sympathy cake. Then, caterers arrive with warming trays of chicken nuggets, mac and cheese, and juice boxes. They start setting up the kids' menu on folding tables next to the funeral arrangements. Linda is now completely losing it, screaming at everyone, caterers, florists, confused guests, even my dad. Finally, the pet photographer arrives with squeaky toys and dog treats, asking where all the pets are and whether she should do the puppies in wedding attire photo shoot first. That's when Linda puts it together. This isn't coincidence, it's sabotage. She storms over to where I'm standing with Dad, watching the chaos. You did this, she screams in front of everyone. You ruined everything. You destroyed my perfect day because you're a jealous, bitter little girl who can't stand to see me happy. The parking lot goes silent. I look at her calmly and say, in the exact same casual tone she'd used in the garage, oops, didn't know it was important. Her face goes white as she realizes this is payback for the dress. I continue, besides, it's just a party. You can plan a new one. The same dismissive attitude she'd shown me. Linda completely snaps, starts screaming incoherently, calling me names, making such a scene that guests start recording her meltdown. She rants about how I've always been jealous, how I can't stand to see Dad happy, how I'm a vindictive brat. But Dad is watching this whole exchange, really seeing his wife's character for the first time. Here's Linda, publicly humiliating herself and his daughter, saying terrible things about me, all because her party was ruined. Where's her remorse for destroying something irreplaceable that belonged to his late wife? The fallout was swift and brutal. Several guests recorded Linda's tantrum and posted it on social media. Videos of her screaming in a parking lot surrounded by funeral flowers went viral among her social circle. Dad finally saw what I'd been enduring for years. He realized Linda's behavior toward me wasn't typical step-family tension, it was genuine cruelty. 2 weeks later, Dad filed for divorce. During proceedings, the full story of the wedding dress came out. When Dad learned Linda had deliberately destroyed his late wife's dress days before my wedding, knowing what it meant to me, he was devastated. He realized he'd brought someone capable of breathtaking cruelty into our home. Linda tried fighting the divorce, claiming I'd manipulated Dad against her. But when the wedding dress story came out in court, along with evidence of her years trying to erase Mom's memory from our home, the judge wasn't sympathetic. Linda ended up with almost nothing from the divorce. No alimony, minimal assets. She moved back in with her parents at 46 years old. Dad and I are closer than ever now. He's deeply remorseful about not seeing Linda's true nature sooner and has been working hard to rebuild our relationship. I did end up having a beautiful wedding that Saturday, despite everything. I wore a simple dress I found last minute, but the ceremony was perfect because it was surrounded by people who truly loved and supported Jake and me. Linda occasionally tries to contact me through social media, alternating between fake apologies and blame. I block her every time. Some people say what I did was too harsh, that I should have just talked to Dad or handled it differently. But Linda crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. She destroyed something irreplaceable out of pure spite, then dismissed my pain like it meant nothing. She wanted to show me that my feelings didn't matter, that my connection to my mother was worthless. So I showed her what it felt like to have something important destroyed. Was it nuclear? Absolutely. Do I regret it? Not for a second. Now, before I finish this story, let me share 2 things that happened afterward that make this whole situation even more meaningful. First, the dress pieces. A lot of people have been asking if I managed to save anything from my mother's dress. The answer is yes. I was able to salvage some pieces that weren't completely ruined by the motor oil. I had them sewn into a small pillow that I carried as my something old at my wedding. So in the end, my mom was there with me after all. Second, my dad's journey. People have also been asking how my father is doing now. I'm happy to say he's doing much better. He started therapy to work through his guilt about Linda and to learn how to better protect our family. We have dinner together every Sunday now, and he's been amazing about honoring my mom's memory in our home again.